Welcome to my channel. This is the Finance Sister, where we talk about everything related to money and having a balanced lifestyle. Before we go any further, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video. Married couples should have joint bank accounts. So I get it. This might be like, whoa, a little bit controversial. I don't actually agree with that. Well, hear me out. Marriage and life is hard enough without having financial stress and not being able to be on the same brain wavelength with what you're doing with your money and how you want to use it and what your lifestyle is going to look like. I've only been married for about 3 years now, but my husband and I joined our finances right after we got married, and it was one of the best decisions that we made because both of us had our pre-existing mindsets of how we should use money, or basically the lack thereof of how to actually manage money. And so being able to do it right when we got married and start that journey together is what allowed us to pay off about $70,000 worth of student loans and a car, and now being able to have 3 to 4 months of expenses saved. And it's such a huge blessing to have that nailed down and be on the same page with someone where we've talked about our dreams and our goals and we're going there and we're making it happen, especially during a crisis time like this where financial strain is really, really real for a lot of people. And this is not just based on personal opinion. This is also based off of research and studies of couples who have had both joint and non-joint bank accounts, and basically their overall satisfaction with their marriage, which is more of what, honestly, I care about money and financial management, but I care way more about marriages and keeping relationships together. So this is why this topic is so important to me and why I think it needs to be recognized as to why studies show that married couples who have joint finances are more together, have higher satisfaction rates with their marriage overall. Before we go any further, I want to just clarify that this is not for people who are not married. If you're a couple, you're living together, I would treat your finances completely separate. You shouldn't have your stuff combined because you're not married and you don't have anything legally saying that your money is tied to the other person. So you should keep your finances like a business transaction, or like if you had another roommate. That's how you would treat your finances until you actually get married, and then you join everything that you have. So I'm filming this video during a time of the COVID-19 pandemic, and I think that this is even more appropriate to be talking about this because a lot of people, over 10 million people, have filed for unemployment in the last couple of weeks. And that is an unprecedented amount of people who are losing their jobs, and chances are it's one or both of the people who were working and they're together, they're married, and they both lost their jobs, or one did. And if you don't have combined finances at this point, it's going to be way harder and more stressful to figure out who's actually covering bills. Oh, now this person kind of technically handles everything, when in reality, you were both contributing to your overall income and pulling from that income for all of your other expenses. It should be together, not someone's handling half of these expenses or these expenses, because that doesn't work when someone loses a job or there's an emergency and one person needs to be covering way more of the expenses than they ever have before. I also want to preface that I don't think having separate bank accounts is inherently bad. It just is harder to have that feeling and the connection of being together and having a clear direction of where you're going with your money, not yours and mine. So really quickly, let's go through 2 big key things of why I think married couples should have joint bank accounts. When money is combined, you are forced to have to communicate more and work together in order to achieve financial goals or be able to afford the lifestyle that you both want to have. It doesn't give you the option of keeping things separate and not talking about how you're going to accomplish something or how you're going to build up this savings to buy this thing. It's so much easier and quicker when you're working together on financial goals to actually get what you both want. And it also improves communication and allows you to ask each other and dream together about what you really want to have and how you're going to work together in order to get that. I completely understand that this might feel like a huge undertaking, really overwhelming, or kind of scary because if you haven't combined your finances yet and you've been married maybe for a little while, but the thing about money is that it can either bring you really like way closer together, or it can create a lot of financial strain and stress on your relationship. It can do both things. But since money fights and problems are the number one cause of divorce, I think that it's really valid to give this some serious consideration and ask yourselves why you're keeping things separate if you are, and what could be the benefits for both of you of combining things. The second big thing is that everything is out in the open. So please hear my heart on this. This is not like oh, you get to see everything your partner does and like micromanage them and control their spending or what they do or do not do with their money. That's not it at all. It's purely to be aware of how much you guys are both bringing in, being able to see, okay, this is how much we have, this is how much our monthly expenses are, this is how much we can save towards our financial goals or retirement, whatever it is. You should be able to feel like you can trust your spouse with any information, whether it's scary, exciting, whatever it is. You should be able to feel like you can share all of that, and that includes money. Even if money has been something that you really don't enjoy talking about or are currently really not on the same page, maybe this is a great start for having those conversations, getting on the same page. And I will link below a video of how to get your spouse on board with budgeting, financial goals, stuff like that below, so you can check that out too. I want to give you a couple statistics from a Fidelity research study that they did on couples. But first, I wanted to just say, like, you would think that people would be more informed, especially married couples, about their finances because it's so interrelated with every aspect of our lives, whether we like it or not. We need money in order to survive and buy things from the grocery store or buy things for our house or whatever it is. But a lot of people are just not talking about it, especially with the people that they really need to be talking about money with, which is their spouse. So a couple of statistics. According to a Fidelity research study in 2015, 43% of couples didn't know what their partner's salary was, and 10% were off by what they made by more than $25,000. That's a big amount of money. That's a big difference to not know exactly how much they're bringing in. That leaves a lot of room for people to hide things. There's studies that show that over 7% of married couples, actually one person has a credit card that the other person doesn't know about. That's kind of getting into more of like marriage counseling, because if you have things like that, there's other issues there that need to be addressed and need to be talked about, because it's not about the money at that point. Why do you feel the need to hide something? Or why do you feel like you can't trust your partner with all the money being put into the same bank account? Is it because they've had experiences in the past where they haven't managed money well? Well, let's get on track with being together and making financial decisions and putting things in place to make sure that both people are completely aware of what spending is happening and what saving is happening. So I hope this video was really helpful. Please like, comment with any questions that you have. Anything that I could possibly be able to help with.